Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the School Sucks radio show, School Sucks Live. If you want to join our conversation, we're going to be all over the place tonight, but I am going to connect it back to what we've been talking about in the previous week. Kate might fight me on it a little bit.
I'll try.
Kate Baker is my guest tonight. She is about to be the executive director of the Network for Educational Opportunity. And one of the stories that we were about to get into was going to be an example of some of the stuff that I've been talking about on the show pretty much the whole time, but really kind of turning up the volume on in recent weeks. And that was the centralization and systematization of education in the United States, which, you know, I would say it was, there was planning 100 years ago on how to bring the education of all children under the control of fewer people. It was really stepped up when the Department of Education, the Federal Department of Education, was introduced. And
wasn't that just in the 70s, though?
60s, yeah.
Yeah,
so
right.
Really through the early 1970s, yeah.
Okay.
And eventually this manifests in a thing about 10, 12 years ago called No Child Left Behind. Right?
It's true.
The brainchild of Ted Kennedy and George W. Bush, so you know it's good. Right? Bipartisan. Right?
It's funny because No Child Left Behind, everyone hates it now.
Yeah.
Everyone. Like, the Democrats hate it, Republicans hate it.
Yeah.
Libertarians just,
like, come on.
I mean,
seriously,
they are.
Was there a debate?
No.
Right.
I mean, everyone, the teachers hate it. Like, everybody hates it.
Why do you think the teachers hate it?
Because the tests show they're not doing well.
Right. And they also have to teach to the test, so it's kind
of... We don't have to.
But then won't they get in trouble with the school because the school...
probably.
Right. So
I think if I was a teacher in a school that I wouldn't be able to teach to the test.
Right.
But I probably would be fired, I guess. Maybe for that.
Yeah. If you weren't tenured. Well, I mean, get tenured, you can do whatever you want.
Okay. So then
Play
maybe
with
I
Play-Doh.
maybe I would
That's not supposed to happen.
It's really loud.
Yeah, we
could dance to it.
We are going to take a call. Retro Benson, you are on
Hello,
School
sir.
Sucks Live. Who's this?
Benjamin Lacert.
Benjamin Lacert?
Okay.
Lacert. L-E-R-E.
Its audio's coming in and out a little bit.
Yeah, your
then.
connection is a little tough. You might want to give us a call back if you can improve it a little bit, but you're in and out. Can you try to talk one more time?
All right.
He's going to call back.
That's we are having a technical problem that I have to address real quick here.
Are you sure that wasn't his connection?
No, that was we shouldn't be hearing those.
That's
sounds,
your
my
dysfunction.
goodness.
That's your personal dysfunction right there.
Exactly.
Your computer doesn't like having callers. It wants to protect us from the outside. Yeah. That's the tinfoil hat. It's working. See, your imaginary tinfoil hat is working.
Good. It's not imaginary. It's under my regular hat.
I mean, I know what's under your regular hat. It's not tinfoil.
Okay, thank you. Or, right? That was a compliment?
I'm not sure. I mean, you're wearing a hat.
Right.
In the radio. It's a radio show, technically.
Sure. So anyway, here, back on track. This is called New Hampshire Will Request a Waiver from No Child Left Behind.
Right.
By Sher Haberman. This was in Seacoast Online, July 22nd, just a few days ago, 2012.
And what makes me upset about this is that for New Hampshire to get a waiver from No Child Left Behind, which is a federal government mandate of testing of students and measurement, right?
A national standardization. Yes.
Yeah. For them to get a waiver, they have to actually implement more programs that manage teacher assessment and things like that. So it's almost like they get a waiver from one federal mandate, and it means they have to do something else.
So it's a catch-22.
A different federal mandate.
Yeah. So now it's like going into business with the mafia.
I mean, I just can't even, I read the article and I was like, forget it. It's just, it's just
not a good thing at all. So there's no way out. There's no way out. It is like,
I mean, there's a way out, and you can put your children in a different kind of school. You can choose a private school, or you can homeschool. You can choose an alternative school for your children, and not send them to the.
Now, was NCLB, was it imposed on all the states, or was funding dangled?
I'm sure funding was dangled. I don't really know.
Okay, so let's get into this.
It says 2001. It was made. I mean, I've always just found this stuff so exasperating that I just even have trouble reading it.
All right, well, I'm going to try and read it. I'm also prone to exasperation, so we'll see how I do.
Okay. All right. Maybe the person will call back in. They can read it for us.
In June, Northampton school officials began a discussion of the steps that are mandated by the state since the school failed to meet its adequate yearly progress standard for a group of special education students under the federal No Child Left Behind Act. However, SAU 21 Superintendent Robert Sullivan told the members of the administration and the school board at that meeting that there may not be a need to adhere to those requirements. Quote, the State Board of Education is drafting a letter to apply for a waiver from No Child Left Behind, Sullivan said. They're going to have discussions with the federal government in July, and something may be in place by October. On Friday, the State Deputy Commissioner of Education, Paul Leather, confirmed his department is again working to exempt the state from the provisions of the federal law. As of Thursday, 32 states had received waivers from the Education Accountability Standards on the federal act.
Right, but the waivers mean... I mean, you should just keep reading, I guess.
But what you're saying is, spoiler alert, the waivers mean more regulatory control from the Federal Department of Education.
Correct.
So it's like joining the mafia, deal with the devil type stuff.
I mean, and
there's ways out for individuals, right?
Yes.
But from fixing education on the state level, and this goes back to what you do, right? Because I want to be clear that one of the reasons why I've always been so vehemently opposed to political action is because it's like saying that we can save this system, and that's not what you're saying, though. That's not what you're saying.
I mean, I am saying that by implementing school choice in New Hampshire, we'll introduce more competition. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that will have a positive impact on the entire education system in the state, because currently our public schools do have a monopoly. Really, yeah. I mean, yes, there are other schools you can choose from, but tuition is a barrier for many families, right?
Right.
So if somebody wants to choose to send their child to a school that costs $7,000, or they can send their child to the public school to which they're assigned geographically. Mm-hmm. And they only earn enough money to pay for their car and their rent and their food, and they don't have that $700, which would be like $700 a month, right?
Yeah.
If you split it up into 10 monthly payments for a school tuition, right? So say you don't have an extra $700 a month,
right?
Which most people don't.
Most people certainly don't.
Then they send their children to the standard, public school that's in their neighborhood.
Okay.
And so that school is governed by these rules. So I think, again, adding school choice gives that family an opportunity to pick something else, to pick a school that No Child Left Behind doesn't control.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, and it took political action to do that. I mean, it actually took a piece of legislation to be introduced into the Senate and the House, and for them to vote on it, and for there to be enough people to vote for it. Actually, I mean, to boot, there was enough votes to have it pass, and then the governor vetoed it because he doesn't like this legislation. So he vetoed it, and then the legislature had to override the veto. So that's a really extensive political process that it went through to exist, to give that family who would otherwise just have to send their child to the neighborhood school controlled by No Child Left Behind.
Yeah.
Although now they're getting a waiver for No Child Left Behind, remember? Yeah,
and it matters to that. It matters to that family. It matters to that child.
I mean, the success, possible future success of that child, definitely.
So, while I think it's nice to be idealistic, like I have been in the past about the future, we live in a world that is controlled by these people. Like when you see blue lights in the rearview mirror, you have to pull over,
Yeah.
Or something worse is going to happen.
And there's there's the laws that say you have to send your child to a school.
Yeah.
I mean, you can homeschool.
Right.
But if you're not a homeschooler, then the law says if your child's 6 years old, they have to go to a school. So you have to choose, if you work full time and you feel like you can't homeschool, you have to choose a school. So you have to pay for your child to go to a private school, right?
Yeah.
I mean, now I can help with that with a scholarship. That'd be really nice, right? Don't you think?
Sure.
For families that couldn't afford it. Or you have to send your child to that school that's in your neighborhood that you're geographically assigned to.
But when most people look at this situation, especially if they're struggling financially, they see a real absence of options right now. So what's important about what your organization is trying to do, in addition to starting new schools and creating the scholarships, is maybe in a couple of years when people look out at this landscape of education, they'll say, there are things I can do.
Yes.
Versus just like, I have to be a homeschool teacher, which I don't feel like I'm qualified to do because I went to public school and they told me I was an idiot. Or I can send them to the public school. So this is School Sucks Live. We will continue with Kate Baker in hour 2. We'd love to hear from you. 843, join SSP.
Hi, I'm Richard Grove of TragedyandHope.com, and thanks to the help of Mark and Ian on Free Talk Live, we've created this call to action to help raise awareness for John Taylor Gatto. In 2001, former New York City and State School Teacher of the Year John Taylor Gatto published The Underground History of American Education, detailing how public schooling creates obedient workers and debt slaves. Now John delivers a message which he calls Your Birthright. It's titled The Ultimate History Lesson, and it's a 5-hour journey illustrating how and why our public schools are dumbing us down and what we can do about it. Therein referencing more than 200 footnotes and 30 classic texts. John suffered multiple strokes in the weeks after filming this interview, and he's in need of your help as he continues to recover. Please click the banner on freetalklive.com and enter the coupon code FTL, and we'll send you the Ultimate History Lesson on 4 DVDs plus a free 15-hour MP3 bonus DVD. Thank you for tuning in and not dropping out.